my mom's mortality reflected back my own, and I said, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here, and I don't want to have their life,
Mm,
my parents' lives. And I said, I want to do something else, whatever I want.
mm,
And I'd always had this dream of living out of a backpack, working remotely, and fighting in Thailand, having no combat experience whatsoever. Never left Phoenix. I was a townie. I'd
mm.
never even left the country. I never lived anywhere else. And I was like, let's try it. So I sold everything that I owned and I packed it into one backpack and I moved to Thailand and said, we're going to figure this thing out.
Welcome to Extraordinary Stories. I'm your host, Forbes Shannon, and our guest today, many different lives lived already. And I'm really excited about this new breakthrough that you've had on your communications. You're fascinated with communications, 15 years as a personal fitness instructor. Santana Vega Yturralde. Santana, thanks for being here, man.
An absolute delight.
Did I nail that?
You got close.
Well, I was going over it so many times in my head before.
You can imagine how many times people mess it up in the million ways that I've heard it wrong.
Well, as a communications guy, does that rub you?
No, I think it's really exciting. I think one thing that's really interesting to see is how people approach words that they don't know.
Mm,
Because it's like learning a new language. Some people just feel this massive sense of aversion to trying something new, so they won't even try saying the word.
right.
And they'll say, I don't want to even read it. I don't even want to try it. But the people who would just say, like, I don't know, let's try it. It's really cool to get to see like what they do with it. And I think it's
Mhm.
really reflective of like human behavior and our aversion to trying things that are new because it has us feeling uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
it's really reflective of the nervous system's capacity to tolerate novelty.
The nervous system's capacity to tolerate novelty.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it, man. We're gonna have a great discussion. I nominated you to be an extraordinary. I found you to be an extraordinary person. You can explain a little bit about how we know each other and you know, the common things that we have, the shared interests we have.
The boys. I mean, just completely randomly met with like everything here now downtown Phoenix,
Hmm.
and like Lowen and Jake were so excited and harping on me to get in contact with you, and I was like, okay, yeah, 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 and we hung out like a couple of times, and I was like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
Forbes is cool. And then I walked in this room, saw this, and said, "We're going to be best friends."
Yeah. Well, I think it's cool when uh, guys our age take an interest in the, like, I don't know, ancient wisdom with the modern neuroscience. Like,
Hmm.
you have three pillars that you stand on.
Hmm.
You want to walk us through those three things that really excite you the most?
Yeah, the first one is definitely neuroscience.
Hmm.
My academic background is in biomedical science and psychology.
Mm.
For a long time, I thought I was going to be a doctor,
Yeah.
and well, a long time before I hit organic chemistry and was like, "Oh, not doing that, not doing that." But was really obsessed with really psychology, and then I started training as a personal trainer, and noticed with all the certifications I was taking, I was really interested in behavioral change
Mm.
and understanding that that's primarily psychological. And
Mm.
then I started working with sports teams and understood that those, like human performance is really driven by the nervous system. And
Mm.
I thought that this was cool until I started applying what I was learning with sports teams and seeing the results.
Mm.
And like specifically, a result I was really proud of was having a team that I trained in for 5 years. They had zero game-ending injuries, and the year after I left, they had 17,
Jeez.
and we didn't use a weight room at all. So I
What?
was like, okay, this stuff about the nervous system is actually effective. How else can we use this?
Mm.
That's really, yeah, pillar number one.
Mhm. Okay. So pillar number 1, and then you've got 2 other ones that kind of blend the multifacets of you
Hmm.
that I'm really excited about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The second one is spirituality
Mhm.
and really having my own massive aversion to anything spiritual or anything religious, coming from a home that basically used Jesus Christ as Santa Claus and saying that
Okay.
if you don't behave as I want you to behave, then you're going to get punished and you're going to get
Okay.
coal in the form of hell or whatever it is that people
Mhm.
want to
And that's
say.
how you grew up.
Yeah, just
Mhm.
punitive. And
Mhm.
I just said, that doesn't resonate with me. I'm not
Mhm.
into it. So for a long time, I saw all of religion as just being stupid. And
Mhm.
so much to the point where I
Mhm.
was like an anti-theist, where I thought if you were spiritual religious, then you are thus stupid.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
I felt, now looking back, it's obviously a result of my own nervous system state
Right.
growing up, like anxious with all these different things.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until I had like some experiences when I lived in Thailand that helped me to understand the blending of neuroscientific principles with patterns that I was seeing across so many different religious and spiritual traditions. And I was like, okay, well, this makes sense. And then I remember I went to yoga teacher training in Colombia and was like, all of this stuff is just basically nervous system regulation. And then
Mm,
you again see all the patterns: chanting, praying, meditation, singing,
mm.
um, communion, all these different things, all these different from like different mythologies to different religions, and really absorbing enough to again be able to detect patterns from all of them.
So then fast forward to your training sports teams. Like where I guess what I'm asking is where did the changing your mind back go? Like where did that fall?
It John Wooden.
Okay.
I was obsessed with great coaches,
Okay.
because I was working with so many sports coaches. I
Hmm.
was thinking, why are some of them good and why are some of them not good?
Yeah.
Why do they
Right.
suck? And then I asked, how is it that some coaches are so good
Hmm.
that the players they get players to do whatever they want, and
Hmm.
then the players thank them for that for decades afterwards.
Yeah.
Specifically in one of Wooden's books, Bill Walton opens up and he was talking about how he takes his grandkids to go see John, and he, like, teaches them things that John he said, "John's the most important person in my life," and I was like,
Mm,
"Dude, this is a grown man, a retired NBA player, and he still has
right.
this high praise for his college coach."
Right.
And I thought, "What is it that John Wooden is doing
Yeah.
that's different from everybody else that got him to win 10 out of 11 years in NCAA championships?"
Hmm.
And then from there, understood that great coaching is actually effective communication is language, language is transmitting electricity through the body and
Right.
communicating that to other individuals.
So that nervous system regulation, the energy that you talk about, like what role did that have in your coaching? Like where did you discover that?
Where did I discover it? I think it comes from first seeing the principle I like to call using contrast to create clarity. When somebody
Mm,
doesn't know something, you can just find, okay, well, what do you know that you don't want? What do you not like? What that just immediately starts creating clarity, and then you can figure out more contrast from that point. So
interesting.
that really showed in coaching when I found a number of coaches that were, I liked them as people. They were cool people, but they were just not good. And they were so athletic and they had success in sport coaching. But when they were working with athletes, the athletes were just so turned off. And the
Mm,
harder the coaches were trying, the more athletes would get turned off and they were losing and they were quitting the teams. And I thought, okay, so this isn't a skill issue. This isn't an experience issue. These people know they've got knowledge, they've got experience, and they're vetted like we would the teams, obviously have a huge interview process and hiring process to select the head
hmm.
coach.
Hmm.
And I said, okay, so then what is it? And then I realized it's cheap to say, oh, they're just a bad coach, it's just a bad fit, it's they're stupid, or it's just whatever thing,
Mm,
they're lazy.
mhm,
And the coaches will also project that out onto the players and say the kids are bad, they're
mm,
just the athletes are
right.
no good, like, I just there's a bad batch. And I said that's not accurate.
Mm,
And I know this because of addiction. Both
mm,
of my parents were addicts,
mm,
and most people look at addiction and say, "Oh, it's a them problem. They're just
mm,
stupid. They're just lazy. They're just weak. They're just poor. That's why they're poor or on heroin or alcohol, whatever the thing
right.
is. Why does somebody stay in a bad relationship?" All of it is just, again, nervous system regulation. It's just seeking familiarity.
Mm,
And I said, I don't think that my parents killed themselves because they were stupid. And I learned more about energy in the body. Bessel van der Kolk really helped me to open my eyes to this, and understanding that really what it is, it's just seeking some form of regulation, whether it be in the form of arguments or heroin
mm,
or winning or making money. It's always just looking to feel good. So
mm,
what these players were trying to do is feel good, and they had one language that they were trying to express, and then the coaches were also trying to feel good, and they had another language they were trying to express. But instead of creating coherence or consonance or resonance, it was creating dissonance. And the more these two tried harder to work with each other, the more they would actively repel each other.
interesting. So that third virtue of a coach, like that you're describing, there's skill, there's experience, there's this. What would you call this thread that you're kind of pulling on?
The thing that makes people effective is resonance.
Resonance.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's being able to, number one, uh, I'll work backwards. I'll say number three is to effectively articulate yourself. Number two is effectively listen to what people are saying and what they're not saying, to understand what you're saying and the implicit things that you're not saying. And then number one is being able to detect, it's really identify, process, release, and redirect energy in the body using language.
Redirect energy in the body using language. So you're kind of describing, like, for lack of a better comparison, the Ted Lasso effect. Ted Lasso is this character who, overly optimistic, powerful energy, American football coach that's stuck coaching, soccer, right? Football in the UK. No skill, no experience, all resonance. Like this ability to build coherence. So that I'm curious how that ties into your third main pillar.
Business.
Yeah.
Yeah. This really came with looking at communications coaching and specifically in public speaking. And I've spent, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars in communications and public speaking coaching and getting really excited. I learned a ton. And then I also saw other people that were in these courses and they weren't getting results. And the more I understood, you can teach people skills and they will progress. But if you do not excavate, process, and redirect the latent emotional energy in their body, then it won't matter. You can give someone a perfect script or a perfect joke, but if they feel anxious when they're delivering that speech or that joke, it will not land.
Brilliant.
And you can give someone just barely pieces of a broken script or joke. And if they have a different, more confident, free, playful energy, then that will land. So ultimately, we know it is not the words, it is the energy that is driving the words that really produces the effect in the audience or in the prospect or in the athlete or client or whatever the thing is.
Got it. Okay. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
It's not even how you say it. It's who you believe you are while you're saying it.
All right, let's go down this rabbit hole. What do you mean by that?
Who do you unconsciously, implicitly identify as? There's a concept of Forbes. There's a concept of Santana that is so true to us that we don't even think about questioning it.
Right.
We think that there are absolute truths. We think that these are, this is just reality. When somebody questions it, we say, what are you even asking? It doesn't make sense to even ask that question because we accept this thing as implicit reality. But what is reality? It's a set of beliefs. And what is belief? It's neural proximity. It's how close, how much hypertrophy has occurred between synapses that allows the electrical charge to jump from one dendrite to the next. It's nothing other than that. And your brain can actively prune and create neural networks with every single feeling and every single thought.
The way I view identity was like there's three different stages that I've discovered, right? So I realized that there was this layer where I was playing characters. In different situations, I was different. Stand-up Forbes was different from at-home Forbes, who was different from, playing sports with the boys Forbes. There's a different character. Then I took a step back and realized there's this layer of the director that I call it, and the director is telling these characters how to act a certain way, and the director can start to create alignment between the characters. But then I took it a step further to the identity, and there's this writer that writes the whole script and can literally, like you say, step outside of Forbes and be just like, this is kind of a trip, but I'm not Forbes. I'm me, and I live inside Forbes's body and Forbes's reality, but I am something totally different. Does that does that resonate with you?
Can I just hit 1 second thing though?
Sure.
To really make this clear for yourself and for everybody watching.
Yeah.
How would you describe the experience? So not what we're saying, but the experience of this conversation right now.
How would I describe the experience? I think I have gotten a lot better at not listening to respond, but listening to understand and like be present. The way I would describe the experience is my energy field is open to receiving new energy and new information, right? Like I just love to learn, like I love having this conversation because I'm learning a whole new thing. To the point about characters, when we first met, we were playing two different characters that neither of us knew how identical what we do professionally was
Mhm.
or what we believe
Mhm.
was. So how I feel this experience right now is I feel it as one of open and learning and reception.
Mhm.
Um, I guess I feel coachable is how I would describe
Mhm.
the person inside me.
Mhm.
Is that I guess I'm not really sure what you were looking for as
So
an answer
already
there.
look, your brain is thinking that I'm looking for something. That's an
Mhm.
implicit belief right there,
Yeah.
that just because I'm asking a question, because the next question's gonna really
Okay.
bake your noodle.
Yeah, alright.
Because it's not even I'm gonna ask, and what you're gonna say is what comes right after that.
Mhm.
So the second question is, if somebody else were watching this who
Yeah.
didn't know who you or I was, didn't know that this was a podcast, didn't know anything, and they were just like a scientist or an alien or just somebody who just didn't know about any of this,
Okay.
how would they describe what they're witnessing between these two guys talking?
I guess they would describe it as, theorizing, philosophy,
Mhm.
wondering.
Mhm.
Wondering is what I think they would,
Mhm. Yeah.
because we're sitting here and we're talking like in belief, and from a place of understanding
Mhm.
with the full knowledge at the same time that we don't know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? We
Mhm.
have really good theories,
Mhm.
but we are still just presenting our own belief and our own point of view to the other and kind of seeing what we agree, what we disagree with, trying to shape our own
Mhm.
perspective.
Mhm. And what would their experience of watching that be?
Well, that's totally up to them.
Mhm. Yeah, so we don't really know. So what would you imagine their experience to be?
Well, that's a good point. What would I imagine their experience to be? I would imagine their experience depending on. I immediately go to okay. Well, let's focus on what their perspectives could be. If they're a being that feels more enlightened, do they think, oh, these guys are onto something, or do they think we're full of it, or are they just curious to watch it?
Mhm.
Um, I guess like if the immediate connection I make is to someone in a comedy show or someone in an audience of like a keynote that I'm giving.
Mhm.
And I think that immediately what comes to mind is they're not thinking about me or us at all. They are entirely thinking about themselves.
Yes.
Hmm.
Everyone that's listening to this, you think that you're thinking about me or you're thinking about him. You're just listening to your own thoughts. And I think this is one of the most important aspects of communication is understanding we read all these books partially to learn, but
Mm-hmm.
partially so that it just puts our brain in a state where it can start thinking about different things. And people have no idea the effect that their environment has on their thoughts, which has an effect on their nervous system, which has an effect on their beliefs. And
Hmm.
this just goes over and over and over again. And you can prune and
Hmm.
you can adjust your environment to create whatever thoughts and thus results that you desire. But in order for us to do that, we must alternate between experiencing and observing. And
Hmm.
with those two questions,
Hmm.
we're able to move from from experiencer to observer to
Hmm.
second level observer. And we can continue to change perspectives
Hmm.
just via imagination because everything is a projection. Even whatever I think that you're experiencing me right now is still my idea of Forbes and how he's thinking about me.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Like, that's something that Aaron talks about in his new book is, be the observer, right? Everything's a mirror, like anything that I perceive from you is really just something about myself. Like
Hmm.
reality is made up. We have some common agreement that, we can't go through a table or we don't. I don't know. That's how people chop through wood, I suppose. But like we have these shared agreements, but understanding that it's all just mirrors of the reflection of ourselves.
Yeah.
Try this one on for size. Another member of the Extraordinary Collaborative, Bree Acey, she describes a story in the simplest form as showcasing a human changing. A story that resonates is a showcase of a human changing because deep down, the reason we consume stories is because we want to believe that we can also change.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
It's there. It's touching on something,
Hmm.
but I think it's not quite getting it.
Okay. What would you add to it?
I think it is experience.
Mm,
It is experience because it's not always moving towards something or moving away from something. Sometimes it's just about the experience. It's not the seeking, it's not
hmm.
the avoiding, it's just the experience. And I think even the belief that like we're trying to get somewhere is what pulls us out of dorsal vagal
Hmm.
or out of ventral and into dorsal vagal. and makes our brain just completely scatterbrained. The more that we're thinking that we have to do something and we should be getting something, like you just did, you're trying to anticipate what it is that you think that I want from you. Now the brain is in hypervigilance, and what it was it not doing? Being present to its own experience.
So on experience, let's talk about that. How did you have such a reversal on these three different pillars? Because you made like a, I don't know, I guess a 360. You started, went away, came back. What about your experience was a catalyst for changing your mind?
I think the biggest thing is going after what it was that I wanted in my life and facing abject terror in doing so.
What do
Um,
you mean by that?
my in I think it was 2019. Yeah, my mom killed herself,
Oh.
and after that, my life kind of just started shifting. I got a job that allowed me to work remotely, and then I was like, it kind of just my mom's mortality reflected back my own, and I said, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here, and I don't want to have their life,
Mm,
my parents' lives, and I said I want to do something else, whatever I want.
mm,
And I'd always had this dream of living out of a backpack, working remotely, and fighting in Thailand, having no combat experience whatsoever. Never left Phoenix. I was a townie. I
mm.
never even left the country. I never lived anywhere else. And I was like, let's try it. So I sold everything that I owned and I packed it into one backpack and I moved to Thailand and said, we're going to figure this thing out. I'm terrified. And I just said, I don't know what's going to happen, but I just know that this ain't it. I know like everything here that I have is so comfortable. My job is so cushy. My home is so cushy. My friends, like everything is so easy. It's so fun. And I just said, there's something else that I want to be experiencing. And I don't know what it is, but there's more. So then that set me on that. And then my life has basically just spiraled dramatically upwards from that point.
Well, what did you find? What was the tipping point?
The tipping point was self trust and
Mm,
saying that if I go after whatever I love because I want to, really, if I do that, then I show myself that not only am I safe to go after what I want, but I'm safe to desire
mm,
and I'm safe to desire pleasure. And I
mm.
think these are the two of the strongest charged words in our vocabulary, desire and pleasure. And they're also the things that create the greatest aversion in people. As soon as somebody mentions desire or pleasure, they immediately think sex. And that's another heavily charged word. And people will do everything they possibly can to avoid feeling negative emotions. And because of that, they usually don't get whatever it is that they want.
So you're saying that people avoid desire?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when were you? How did self trust break through your avoidance of desire?
It wasn't the avoidance of desire, it was the permission to desire. I knew
Mm,
I wanted to go to Thailand, and I knew I wanted
mm.
to fight, and I knew it didn't make sense. It didn't even make sense to me, and other people were like, "This is stupid," and I was like, yeah, it kind of is." And I just went towards it, and because of that, it just paid off dramatically. I had incredible business opportunities, I had incredible relationships, incredible, like, fighting in a stadium, dude, that's crazy. I
Mhm.
got my forehead cut open.
Oh
That
wow.
was one of the coolest experiences of my life. Yeah, I got knocked out, and I could not have been happier. And my team was like, "Oh no, you did such a good job," and I was like, "No, I didn't. I just got knocked out. Like I'm completely aware of what just happened." And they're like, "No, no," and I was like, "No, man, I get it." And I said, "You don't get it. You think that I'm not happy because I lost, and I'm telling you, I'm happy because I'm even here."
Mm,
As someone who grew up in abject poverty with addict parents and, dropped out of college and did all these different things, the story I was telling myself my entire life was like, you're not good enough. There's
mhm,
no way you could ever do something cool. There's no way you could ever have a cool life. And I would always listen to that.
mm,
And then I just said, I'm just going to do it and I'm going to be scared and I'm going to trust myself and know that I can feel fear and go after whatever it is that I want. And
mm,
that is the foundation of self-trust. It's full desire, it's paradoxical. It's full desire
mhm,
and full detachment to say I know what I want and I'm going to be okay if I don't get it.
mm,
I don't even know. It's stepping into the unknown, stepping into the void and saying, no matter what, I got me.
mm. So where does self love fit in this matrix kind of that you're describing?
It's the foundation. It's the
Mm,
foundation. And really, it's the energy, as we said, that's driving the action because it's not so much what you're doing. It's, again, it's not what you're saying. It's not the script. It's not the pickup line. It's not the joke. It's not the business. It's not the dollar. It's not even the client result. It's the energy that you're using to drive that. And one of the fastest ways you can discover that is asking somebody, what do you want? Uh, you know, what is that? What's that going to be like when you achieve like X, Y, or Z? Um, and then what if you don't?
mm,
As soon as they think about what if I don't do this thing, then they might say, oh, that'd be awful. Oh, I'd be a failure. Oh, I'd be so sad. Already that's displaying their attachment because they believe that achieving this external goal is going to fulfill some internal hole, but that is a fool's errand. It's infinite. But if you can have that sense of internal fulfillment and self-love, it becomes effortless to achieve because then you are in a place of play. The brain is in play.
mhm.
It literally is just like, I get to do this. I don't
Yeah,
have to do anything.
right,
Doing this or not doing this doesn't mean anything about me. The sale or the rejection or whatever it is, it's like, who cares?
right.
None of this matters.
Mhm. So then, in your timeline, was Thailand before coaching, after coaching?
No, I was coaching for like 15 years, maybe at that time, like 13 or 14 years. And then I moved to Thailand. And then I've been traveling for like 4 years. And then I launched my business like 2 years ago
Mhm,
and have been coaching public speaking and sales since then.
mm, mhm. And so, what are the common pain or opportunities or roadblocks that your clients have when they come to you? What's like the common if you could save our listeners a bunch of time, what is it that people come to you with?
Well, the result, the problem that they see is leads and sales.
Mm,
That comes as a function of articulacy. They
mm,
don't know how to express what it is that they do in a way that feels authentic and good to them and
mm,
also magnetizes them to their dream clients and also repels their nightmare clients away. So they
mm,
only work with the people that they want to be working with. And it's easy to like write these scripts and it's really fun to tell stories and like get
yeah,
people to be like, oh, this is what you actually do. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't even know that's what I did.
right.
Like, this is what you really offer. And refining the offer is really fun. And then getting to articulate that in keynotes on social
Mm,
media or whatever this thing
mhm,
is fun. But all of that is still a function of the internal energy.
mm,
And if they still have subconscious blocks around money, desire, pleasure, deserving, worthiness, belonging, then we're fighting an uphill battle. So the
mm,
first thing that I love working with is identity work and helping people to, again, identify, process, release, and redirect that energy within their body to create
mm,
the life that they want.
mhm, mhm,
Because the business is built, every business is built for freedom. They think that people think that they're building it for money, but really what they want is to be able to live a life so they can do whatever they want with whoever they want, whenever and wherever they want.
mm, mhm. And why what about someone's energy prevents them from, like, believing that they can do that? You a red thread that you've touched on this whole conversation is this idea of permission.
Hmm.
So what is the direct correlation between permission and energy?
Permission is fundamentally reassurance.
Mm. What do you mean?
Reassurance is saying, like, you're allowed to feel this. You're allowed to have this. You're allowed to
Mm,
feel what you're trying to feel.
mhm.
And when we look at the way that children are raised, we're literally raised, classically conditioned,
Yeah,
and we're praised for feeling joy, gratitude, laughter,
yeah.
fun, play, all these different things. And as soon as we feel anger, wrath, jealousy, fear, anxiety, we're punished for feeling sad. We're either directly punished or the parents say, I don't want, like, fix yourself because I don't want to deal with this. And that's a function of the parent's nervous system having incapacity to tolerate their own
Mm,
internal energy.
mhm,
But when you give yourself permission to feel how you're feeling and say, yeah, I am scared. Oh,
mm,
I am nervous. I am angry. Instead of being like, no, I'm not. Now, what's happening when I say, no, I'm not, what is happening is I'm taking cognitive power and I'm allocating it to repression. And I'm just constantly, it's like me trying to do this podcast right now. And I'm like holding this door behind me, like, no, it's completely fine.
Right.
But my brain, while it's trying to focus on you, it's all really focusing on just that and hoping that you don't notice this. This is what the problem people have with public speaking. They're repressing their own latent fear and trying to convince themselves that they are not scared. And as a result, they're stuttering, their mind is racing, they're rambling over and over and over again. They forget whatever it is that they're coming here to say. They do not have any energy because all the energy that they want to be directing out into the audience is actually being directed to repressing their own experience.
Right. So, well, okay, let's say, you're on in 30 seconds. You are scared. What do you do?
I would say create a physiological state and use a cognitive exercise to break the state. So reinforce it both mentally with the brain and then also with the body. So that big words really simply is use like an internal like dialogue exercise, and then physically I like to use breath work. It's so fast to metabolize stuck energy. But also if you use like a mental practice enough times, it becomes so easy. One of my favorite ones. Can I just show you what it looks like?
Sure.
So just tell me something that happened. Tell me something that's got like an
I say too much.
Okay.
I was watching a video of myself last night and was just appalled at how many times I saw that I said
Tell me more.
With the I realized that it was just a subconscious filler word, and I think my big takeaway from it is I need to be more confident and cool with pause. Understanding that as I'm speaking, pause actually gives me power and draws people in. There's this nervous habit of filling in with filler words. A lot of people have as a filler word. I have like, but the big one is because I want, if I'm going to be real specific on picking apart, what I'm actually seeking is, are you following me? Am I making sense? If you want to go another level above it, that could mean a couple of things. That could mean I'm insecure that I'm not making sense. Or it could be, I'm so brilliant, I hope you're keeping up. And so with, I have been focused on taking the extra time to be deliberate in how I speak. I'm so focused when I'm writing on not having extra words. With writing, I get 5 drafts before I publish something. Speaking is, you don't have that ability to edit and write at the same time because you are simply speaking. So the solution, I think, is to write slower with my mouth.
So what's it like to feel that emotion and that anxiety and also know what to do about it?
Yeah, it's clear. And it is a mental, now that you're saying that, it's funny. I am constantly telling myself, slow down. It's like I'm constantly watching the words as they're coming out, saying, just chill out.
And what's the best part of doing all that?
I'm paying more attention to the individual words that are coming out. Not focused on not saying, but actually redirecting the energy into the words I'm choosing to say.
And when you're choosing the words that you know that you're meant to say, then what do you want?
Well, I think as I'm being more intentional with the words that I'm choosing, I am also being more intentional with the vocabulary I choose to use. This was something that I learned a long time ago that I'm still continuing to learn, is just because I know the big words doesn't mean I should use the big words. The best books are very complex ideas that are written at a 5th or a 6th grade level. The first book that Aaron and I wrote that was a bestseller was written at a 13th grade level. And when Aaron and I go back and we reread that book, we go, who were we trying to prove that we knew these big words? 5th and 6th grade is where it's at. How can I be more deliberate with my communication so that everyone can understand me, especially in an age where attention is so fractured.
Mhm.
You often only get someone's 10 or 15 seconds of attention. I can feel all the people listening to this podcast realizing that they were thinking about something else for the last 2 minutes and now they're focused.
Mhm.
How can I capitalize on that 10 seconds by being so deliberate and focused with my energy and my vocab?
Mhm. Okay. Can I show you what just happened?
Yeah.
There's 4 questions. First one is, tell me more.
Mm-hmm.
So you took whatever your experience was,
Mm-hmm.
and then we just open that up because
Right.
there's something within that experience that you actually care about.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can open that up and just say, tell me more,
Yeah.
you're automatically going to let that stuff flow without any direction from me.
Mm.
Your unconscious knows what it wants to say, what it needs to be experiencing right now. And by me saying that, it just opens it up.
Right.
So from there, I ask, what's it like? Which is now it's concentrating. It's taking this big, vague, amorphous idea or experience and then tightening it down using a simile to say, oh, it's actually a comparison. So it's actually like this other thing,
Mm.
which makes it more clear and more focused in your mind. Because it's more focused in your mind, it starts to change the state of your nervous system.
Mm.
And when your nervous system becomes more focused, then it allows the brain to relax.
Mm.
So then I concentrate even further and ask, what's the best part? So now your brain's already switching into ventral vagal. So now it's thinking even more positively, which is making more good sensations occur in your body, which is now causing even better thoughts in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go even further and ask, when you have all that, then what do you want? And now you're getting clear on the intention. We just go symbol, unpack, concentrate over and over and over until we get what you actually care about.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just saw that it wasn't about that.
It wasn't about,
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was about making sure that I'm actually spending the audience's time wisely.
Yes. That's what you really care about.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had an experience where your time was not.
That's brilliant, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this has been an awesome conversation. I ask everybody that comes on Extraordinary Stories this question.
Mm-hmm.
If there was one piece of advice that you could give today that would help our listeners live more extraordinarily, like Santana, what would it be?
Tell yourself you're allowed. Tell yourself you are safe to feel how you feel.
Mm.
I'm safe to be scared.
Mm.
I'm safe to be happy. I'm safe to be anxious. I'm safe to be mad. I'm safe to be grateful. So many times we spend our lives telling myself, I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shouldn't be feeling this way. And that's more and more repression, which is more cauterization from yourself.
Yeah, dude.
Let yourself be you.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. You can read more about Santana at joinextraordinary.com. That's joinextraordinary.com, at joinextraordinary on all our socials. I'm Forbes Shannon. Santana, thanks for being here, man.